for questions for anyone who would want to ask questions later on. We are live on Facebook again and on YouTube, so please prepare your questions and we will read them on air. Just a quick reminder for our audience here, those who have questions will have to raise their hands and introduce themselves before asking their questions. We have 4 microphones on the floor, so you can just proceed to the mic stand and go ahead with your questions. Our speakers are here with us today. They will be given microphones as well. And so the floor is now open to our friends in the media or to anyone. You can now proceed. We have our first question here. Kindly introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. My name is Ans and I'm actually representing the Palawander. It's a blog. So my question is, it's really good that we have this insightful project, and I know for a fact that it's really true that defecation is quite of a big problem here in the Philippines, and I believe all of you would agree. So my first question is, does SATO have any plans of partnering with local government units so that they can reach far-fetched areas? And another thing, is it gonna be made accessible to the public? What I mean is it gonna be possible for people to buy it on TikTok shops, or let's say Lazada or Lazada Mall, among other things? Because I think if that's the way it is, then it's really gonna be convenient for everyone to get access to that. And another point, I'm pretty sure that Ayala Foundation has lots of connections, and I'm pretty sure, is it something that they want to pitch to them so that they say if there's like building houses or facilities, SATO could actually be considered. Thank you.
Thank you for those questions. We'd like to answer from the team. Very interesting questions. Okay, our microphone please. I think Erin would like to answer. Actually, let you go.
I think Suguru or Herbert would be able to add on to this more, but I think to your main point around, it is a problem and we recognize that, but it's more important that we have the tools available for our partners to use. And I think, we are exploring multiple channels, but we felt it was really important to partner with Manly, so we'd be focusing on their depot locations, as well as the existing partners that we've been piloting with in some of the most at-need areas. I think I took notes in some of these channels where I think we still have a lot to learn, and I'll be looking to partners. But making it available to the public, either through the LGUs or through NGOs that are already reaching into those communities, is our top priority. But Suguru or Herbert, I don't know if you want to add.
So at the beginning, we asked Manly's teams, and there are 6 people. So Bagatas, Marina, also Laguna, Cebu, and Davao. So we will put our product in these 5 locations plus. And we can start. Of course, quickly we want to expand our business, so we can try to enhance our availability in the market.
Thank you so much. Have you answered your question? Oh. One more? Follow through? Okay.
So as much as it was very evident that blue is your color of choice for the plastics, right? So I was kind of wondering, because most Filipinos, if not all, are very particular with colors. So is there a consideration if there are people who'd like to order in bulk, let's say if they want a pink one, a yellow one, a green one, are you amenable to that? I'm not sure it's a valid question, to say the least. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. I know color is important, for a lot of people. We actually did a study with the focus group when we came up with this shade of blue initially. But so I know a lot of people associate white with toilets. So we do have white color specified, right? So if that's the need, if that's the demand from the people in the Philippines, then we can consider that.
Thank you.
So great to hear it can be adjusted in the context per country. Okay, next question please. Yes, sir.
Good morning. I'm Fred Bentley from GIZ. Specifically on your product demonstration, you mentioned that you've done lab testing like repeatedly cycles to also determine the lifespan. I was just wondering if you have something like a number of years that this service lifespan of the products, and if so, do you also provide warranty for these products? Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you for that. So the lifespan of the product we designed for the long-lasting the product life, but what it comes down to would be the usage, how you use it, the exposure to elements that these products are exposed to. So each installation is different, and we do not currently offer warranty, on these products, right? But so warranties, for the warranties to happen, there needs to be a systematic approach to how the purchase is made, the validation date for the installation. There's usually a cost associated to that, right? So, obviously as a business we know how to do warranty, but our choice for now is to forego that, provide people with affordable pricing at the retail points, and to provide this solution to as many people as possible that's needed the most.
Thank you, Mr. Daigo. Next question, please. You have questions from this table? Yes, please. You have a microphone there? There's not. Good. Morning.
Hello, good morning. I'd like to ask, as we've heard that you've talked Manly Plastics, and we all know that they're the largest provider of end-to-end plastic solutions here in the Philippines. So, as your local manufacturer, how was it like working with them, and when did the partnership start?
Thank you.
So before I came to this stage, so we approached the more than 100 plastic companies. So during the COVID, so their response is not so good. But the money try to invest their money for the sanitation hygiene. So we want to try to keep this relationship as possible as longer as we can do.
Very good. Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. Next question. Okay, we have two questions. Sir, ladies first.
Hi, I'm Katrina from the Daily Tribune. My question is, can you just elaborate on how open defecation causes economic loss, and in what ways? And second question is, aside from government sector and NGOs, in the private sector, what types of businesses do you want to cater to? That's all.
Thank you. From the Daily Tribune, Arian.
Great. If I may take a first pass at this question, then I may ask Jason Cardosi, who's our head of partnerships, to add on. So when we talk about the economic, social, and even the dignity aspect of the impact of open defecation and poor sanitation, it impacts the ground multiple ways. We start with a basic sense of schools. If you don't have a sanitation facility in a school, and students, young women in particular who are menstruating, are not able to go to school, and so you are inhibiting them from taking advantage of their education. You also then ultimately have loss of economic advantage and future livelihood. But that extends even further. For any community that is facing the impact of poor sanitation, this leads to diarrheal diseases, it leads to stunting, which we know, particularly in the Philippines, has been a large problem. And so what we're looking at is these long-term health impacts have cascading effects when we think about economic impact, when we think about the ability to really grow an economy. And I think building on what Jonathan shared earlier, right? We want to really empower these communities to grow their own livelihoods. And if they don't have safe water, if they don't have safe sanitation and access to hygiene facilities, the impact of disease, the impact of that lost productivity just gets amplified across the community. We know that 800 children die every day from diarrheal diseases. And if simply access to safe sanitation in these settings or hand washing can help to reduce the incidence of that health concerns, then we're having that real impact on that child's lives. So this is for us, open defecation, can be driven by a lack of access to sanitation facilities, but it also can be driven by the fact that, as Daigo said, the smell is so bad. The contamination in the latrine is so bad that a user doesn't want to use it. And the better option is seen as going outdoors. So we're hoping that with the Sato products, we're not only elevating that experience, but we're making sure that the behavior change, that the use and the safe separation of the waste from the human environment is repeated, and that we can replicate that across environments. And so for us, I think that these products are really a toolkit for us to find the gaps where we don't have access to the to safe sanitation in a wide variety of settings.
Thanks, Erin. Anyone else from the team like to answer? Sir?
Yeah, sorry, I was distracted. It was the question on economics, yeah. So there was a study done by the World Bank, I think about 10 years ago, and they looked at this. They looked at the time people take to open defecate, the health impacts of open defecation on early death, on lost productivity, and they came up with a model, basically a desk review of this. And in a number of countries, I don't think they looked at the Philippines, but they looked at a number of countries in the region. The average drag that this was on an economy was about losing 1% of GDP per year. So it's very significant. So once someone gets improved sanitation, once they realize those time-saving benefits and the health benefits, the country's productivity will improve along with it.
Thank you. You're good, Lady Tribune?
My other question is, aside from the government sector and the NGOs, in the private sector, what types of businesses would you want to offer these products?
So apologies, I missed the second part of the question. So one of the things that we're doing, and this is through relationships that Manly already had, is that we're looking for local market-based organizations to help us create awareness and demand, but also to help distribute. As you well know, the Philippines is a very challenging environment for distribution. And so we're looking for other partners and social enterprises that can help us expand our reach through existing distribution or to invest in distribution networks into rural communities that can best benefit from the products that we have. So we do have 2 partners that have already been identified, social enterprises, Waves for Water and Green Ants. And we are also just looking for our development sector partners and other private sector partners who see these products as complementing what they already offer into the communities and helping us to overcome the reach and the distribution challenges. So I hope that addresses better.
Thank you, Erin. Okay, we can only accommodate one last question for this round, and because we are pressed for time, but probably after the program, our friends from the media can still approach our speakers for your questions. Yes, sir, go ahead.
So I'm Max Ventura. I just wanted to find out the example of how Sato has been able to scale this up in other countries. Perhaps that can be like the template that we can follow. And then at the same time, in terms of the costing, I do understand the cost of the devices, but is there a recommended costing involved already in terms of creating the actual latrine, the depth of the receptacle, the total mortar to be used, so that we have an actual cost of one existing unit, depending on which model is to be used? Because I think that's an important consideration in terms of total project cost. Thank you.
Anyone from the team? Sir, go ahead.
So about the business development. So in Bangladesh, this is our first country. So in Bangladesh, we had a very strong partner named BRAC, and also IDE is Bangladesh. So they educated more than 3,500 latrine producers. There's a kind of method to construct a toilet. So they gave the good education to the masons, and we provide the product availability. So we match the supply and the demand creation, then we can scale up the business. So at the beginning, of course, we start from the very small business, but after 4 years, we shipped more than 300,000 units of the toilet. So we got impact more than 1 million. And second point, about the entire project. So we just only have only toilet and also like a connection system. But our partners in here has already do some like research. I think for example like water.o has already showing some construction cost from the each bricks, islands, and also like a roof and walls. So we can collaborate more with such kind of partners, and we can think about the project.
So Guru, if I could add on the scale question, I think this is a really big challenge for anyone investing in sanitation, particularly market-based sanitation. And so when we think about scale, how do we move from a small social enterprise trying to distribute products and build a business model, or even a 5-year development project? How do we move into a sustainable supply chain where these products are not only going to be offered in a community over an extended period of time, but we're getting feedback from the consumers. We're understanding where does this meet their needs, where does it not. We have to keep Daigo busy with more things to do. So, we need that two-way communication with the market. And what we see in the Philippines is an opportunity to leverage Manly Plastics, the social enterprise partners, but also many of you from the development sector and the investments that are happening in these rural areas to understand where do these products meet these needs, how do we keep them supplied in that area, how do we train the masons to make sure they get installed appropriately and they're maintained. And so we really see this as an ongoing and long-term investment. This is what we've replicated in areas of East Africa and West Africa, and also in India, and as Sigurd had said, in Bangladesh. And it's a challenge. We're really working community by community, state by state, or county by county to train, make sure that we have all elements of matching the supply and the demand. And simply put, that's why we can't do it alone. And we're really looking to each of you to help us to do that and help us to deliver on this very ambitious goal.
Jonathan, go ahead. If I may ask, this was supposed to be a surprise for the sato team, but since you asked the question, so we've actually done an installation in one of our compounds in Malabon. So we can, yes, to answer your question, yes, we can give you preliminary cost of the total installation on top of the prices that Suguro-san mentioned. We can tell you the materials that we use, we can tell you how long it would take, we can tell you how many person hours it took. So, but again, that being said, what we are trying to do is to keep innovating on the process to make sure that the cost is kept as low as possible. So yes, that's one of the you'll see it on Friday, but anyways, since you mentioned it already, yeah. So we have that solution for you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and that ends our discussion. Let's give a warm round of applause to our speakers. And of course, thank you so much to those who asked your questions. We really appreciate